What's up, guys? It's been a brick. I'm gonna just get straight into it. I was sat here thinking about having random thoughts, and as we get closer to the NFL season, you always think about what teams are gonna be good. The Rams are gonna be, they should be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. The Seahawks should be up there. You're like, yeah, the fucking Ravens, all them. But this time of the year, I like to think about what teams are gonna be dog shit. Like that's what I was thinking. And so first, I think we have an easy three. You definitely cannot see that board unless out of production. It's just off my OBS. It looks like shit. But also I have bad handwriting, so who gives a fuck? I'm just using this for me. You're gonna listen to me yap. So I think easily, if you ask anybody, if you're gonna ask them the bottom five teams in the NFL this year, you'll get the first three super easy. It's gonna be the Dolphins, the Cards, and the Jets. I rank those as Jets are easily gonna be the worst team in the league. I don't like the coaching. I don't like any of their talent. They just dumped a bunch of talent. I think they're just using this year to fucking survive through and then fire all the coaching staff once they get a new quarterback. I mean, people still believe in Justin. Oh wait, Justin Fields not even there no more. He's a Chief. Shit, nigga, I don't even know who's the fucking Jets quarterback right now. I'm fucking casual. After that, I have Miami at 2 over the Cardinals just because I think Miami, talent-wise, is a lot less. I think the Cards are just in a shitty fucking scheduling. Like, their schedule is just so hard. They're already in the NFC West. But, I think if that roster, just on paper, talent-wise, is pretty strong if you really look at it. They have the first and second round picks from last year. The Nolan, the DT, who actually, when he played, he looked really good, but he was injured a lot. They have the Michigan corner. He looked pretty strong. It's just like the team didn't have coaching, and it didn't. Like that entire Kyler Murray era will just be known for just total disappointments of like not even fighting for anything. Like it's that Arizona's coaching has just always been an issue. So I think they do have talent. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. is still there. I think Michael Wilson is still there. They have Trey McBride. I don't even think their quarterbacks are that bad. They have Miami, Carson Beck, that's his name. Gardner Minshew, I believe, is a Cardinal right now. And then they have Jacoby Brissett, who they have contract issues with right now. So he's technically not or he is under contract, but I don't know if he's going to play. But if they have Jacoby Brissett play, or even Gardner Minshew, I think this team is losing because they're just playing better teams more consistently instead of like they're necessarily like horrible. So my bottom three ranks is Jets, Miami, and then the Cardinals. And Miami's just tanking. Like that's the reason why Miami's gonna lose because they don't want to be winning right now. I don't think they are talented really at all. I think they're overall less talented than the Cardinals, but I think I like the coaching staff. I like the division they play in since they have the Jets in their division. Like the Cardinals don't have anybody weak in their division to beat up on, like at all. Like all of the teams in the NFC West should be really strong. So that's something. But I think the bottom three teams are very, very obvious in the NFL this next upcoming season. But then you start looking at like, okay, what are the other two teams that would fill in that bottom five, right? And so I narrowed it down to 4 options up here. I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Giants, Tennessee, and the Raiders. Now, 3 of those 4 teams were in the bottom 5 last year. So it really shouldn't like be a surprise that they're here again. Bad teams likely stay bad. But then the one team that wasn't in the top 5, I actually am very, very down on. That is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh decided to bring in Mike McCarthy to pair with Aaron Rodgers. They traded for Michael Pittman. They had a few free agency signings like Jamel Dean, trying to just shore up, I guess, the parts of their team that weren't amazing. But their team wasn't amazing last year. I think their division should be way harder. Cincinnati should be way better this year. I like the Ravens head coach signing. I think Harbaugh was an issue, and I'll get more into that with the Giants. And just going into this year, I'm just not confident in the team that's surrounding a very old Aaron Rodgers, who after last year was proven that he can't win you a game. He can manage a game. He can control it. He can still be pretty accurate. He's not nearly as mobile. He can't make those out of structure plays anymore. But he can hit a guy if he's open. So I think if you put him on a team, like if you switch him and CJ Stroud around, like maybe Houston wins that second game against the Pats. Like maybe he doesn't throw for an interception. I'm pretty sure he did play very poorly against the Texans in that first round game, but the Texans defense compared to the Patriots defense are two different animals. I think if he was surrounded in a perfect position, Aaron Rodgers could still have a chance. Like this isn't that 2020 Bucks team that Tom Brady had that was a top 3 defense, and he had at least he had 3 Hall of Famers to throw to, and Michael Evans, and Gronk all on the same team. They're Michael Pittman and DK Metcalf. As much as I love those guys, like I think both those guys, their max ceilings would be as 2s. I do think it'll be interesting to see how the defense looks like, because the defense was strong last year before later in the year they started slowing down. I think that was partially because of how old they were. And this is a team also that if they sustain any serious injury, they are not a very deep team. If even a couple of their star players, like let's say not even Aaron Rodgers goes down, but if who's someone on the team, like if Jalen Ramsey, let's say Jalen Ramsey, who's 32 or 33, still I'd say that it's their second best coverage player, like secondary player. At least he was last year after Joey Porter Jr. Like if he goes down, what does this team look like? As bad as a contract that TJ Watt has, and as not nearly to the same level as he used to be, he is. They still have I'm blanking on his name, but they just gave him a huge contract on the other side. So, like this team, they have pass rush, but if TJ Watt, who isn't as good a pass rush, but he's still a solid run defender, if he goes down, who's going to man that other edge spot? If one of their D tackles get injured, like I think this team is really just a couple injury, like 1 or 2 injuries away from going from a wild card team to like I said, a bottom 5 team in the NFL. And this is, like I said, excluding Aaron Rodgers, but this is a man that I think I'd still put as high risk of re-injury toward Achilles. He's coming off that. He doesn't look mobile at all. It doesn't look like he can really protect himself the same way he used to. And then even if something doesn't catastrophic. That doesn't sound right when I say it. But if something horrible goes wrong, or even if something doesn't horrible goes wrong, if everything goes fine, this team is max a wild card win team. To me, this team does not get past the second round. Mike McCarthy does not get them past the second round. That's another thing. They brought in a new head coach for the first time in 20 something years. It was 03, 04, 02, something like that, when Mike Tomlin got hired by the Steelers all those years ago, and now they're having complete culture change. And really, it's just, I think if as an outsider looking into that building, I'm looking at it as, man, it's got to be like, there's got to be a whole culture shock. There's got to be an entire culture change. And often when a building and a team needs that, they normally suck first. Like it doesn't just happen like gradually or just like that. Like they go from, okay, we're going to bring in this new guy. We're an old team. Like everybody knows it. We all know that this is Aaron Rodgers last year, probably. We all know that this is really our final go at it. So I think if they suck, like there's going to be no fight in the building to necessarily be like, yo, this isn't us. Like, why are we losing these games? Like, we're the Steelers. Like, we got to be a certain type of way. I think it'd be more like, okay, damn, it's Rodgers last year. We're trying our best, but like everybody kind of knew like this was the last hurrah, and if it doesn't go well, then it's just what's next for us. Like, if you're DK or Michael Wilson, Are you gonna just rot on this team for the next couple of years? I mean, DK got paid. He got his extension, but did they? I don't know if they. Can't remember off the top of my head if they extended. Did I say Michael Wilson? I meant um. Oh, I said his name earlier, but I'm blanking on now. The old Colts wide receiver. Um, so that'll be interesting to see. And another thing, like something interesting, like people when they hired Mike McCarthy, the whole thing with them hiring was he got a 4-year deal, and the idea that the Steelers don't fire coaches, they're kind of like the Bengals like that. But it just makes no sense. If he gets fired and you have a chance to hire like one of the up and coming coordinators next year, like really reset your whole franchise, like let TJ Watt stay. TJ Watt has to stay because franchise legend. You can't trade TJ Watt. Nobody will want to trade for TJ Watt with that contract at this point in time, I don't think. I think he only has a year or two left on it anyway. So you suck while you still got TJ Watt. You build the bones around him. You have the other edge rusher you just paid, so he's your future player. You got Joey Porter Jr. in your secondary. You try to fill in the edges and going forward, and then this team becomes competitive again. And 3 to 4 years after Joe Burrow and Lamar have gotten older, they're past their 30s, they're deep into their 30s, hopefully a little more vulnerable, and you have some success. So that's my pitch of why I think the Steelers could be bad. The other teams I have up here are, I'm a little more wishy-washy. Like, my general outlook for them going into the year is more positive than the Steelers, but all three of these teams have in common is that they're really young. Like I said, these next three teams were all in the bottom five of top five of the draft order last year. And when you look at it for the past 7 years, one of the teams in the top 5 draft picks, the next year after that draft, will make the playoffs. So I think one of these teams will actually end up making the playoffs. But I think it's just as likely that these teams are just a few things happening away from being in the bottom 5 once again. So we'll start with, like I just talked about Harbaugh, I'll start with the Giants, who I think has the lowest chance of actually popping, which I think would surprise a lot of people. I think on paper, when you look at this team, they should be really good. They should have a great defense. They still have all of that edge rushing talent. They lost Dexter Lawrence to the Bengals, obviously, but interior D-line, as important as it is, it can't be replaced. And they still have all that edge rusher talent. They still have Brian Burns. They still have, I'm not blanking on it. I'm such a casual. I'm still blanking on his name. The dude they drafted out of Penn State, Abdul Carter. There we go. They still have him. On the back end, they still have, oh, no, they don't have Xavier McKinney. They traded him last year. I'm stupid. He's in Green Bay. But they're a team that, once they put in Jackson Dart last year, they were exciting. They were fun. They looked like they were moving. Now, my holdup with the Giants is one injury. Malik Neighbors, his recovery does not look good. Everything I've seen about what his leg looked like, what he looks like coming back, does not look positive. It does not look like he's going to be back anytime soon within the season. And if he does, I don't know if he's going to be the same level of explosive and movement. Like, to put it, Tank Dell, I've seen Tank Dell moving better than I've seen Malik Neighbors moving recently. Cam Scatabo, he just had the thing like a week ago with that backflip, which, I mean, it's good to see that he could do a backflip, but running back that gets injured early, I hope he has a great career. I hope he doesn't get injured too often, but I'm kind of skeptical of if he's not even going to be ready by the beginning of the season. When he comes back, what's he going to look like? Is he going to be the same? And then what's that re-injury risk looking like? I can very easily see, him going down again, and now they're back down to RB2. And then finally, the bigger holdup with the Giants is Harbaugh. I don't think Harbaugh elevates this team to another level. The same way we've seen that when he had Lamar, he wasn't able to elevate them to a high level. That 2023 team was arguably the best team of the 2020s. They had the best defense when they still had Mike McDonald, the GOAT. Easily one of the best defenses of the 2020s. If not, I think statistically it might be the best defense. and they couldn't even get to a Super Bowl. Um, I think Harbaugh, especially in a market that's even crazy. Like the Baltimore Ravens had Lamar. They are not a huge media market. Like we love talking about Lamar because people love to hate on great players because it brings in views. But if we just talk about ball, it's like nationwide. It's not a massive team. Like I always like I have friends. I'm on the East Coast now. I have friends that are Baltimore fans. I always joke like, man, Baltimore and Seahawks are just like one's the AFC, one's the NFC, but they're twins, bro. Like we people don't talk about us unless we're really good and you can hate on us. Like other than that, people don't really want to be yapped about us. So I think him going to a market like New York, where I mean, there's already so much noise about him getting fired from Baltimore for all since I had people since like that bad loss to the Titans in Lamar's first year being like, yeah, get him out of here. Let's get a new guy in here. And I think we're gonna see that I think the game's just maybe not past it, but his just decisions were holding that Baltimore team back more than he was helping them. And I don't think in that strong division with Washington, who's finally getting young, Jaden McDaniels should hopefully be healthy all of this year, and I like their coaching more. Then the Eagles and Cowboys should both be great teams. Like I could very easily see this team be picking in the top 5 again, and need to maybe replace Neighbors or replace Scatabo with a high level offensive threat, or even like a corner, which I think is still weak for them, unless I'm forgetting somebody they signed or something like that. And then going on to that, these next two teams I'm gonna talk about interchangeably because I think they both have the same issue of Tennessee and Las Vegas, and I think the issue is just it's 1 year too early. Both these teams bring in new coaching staffs who I'm very, very high on. I think Tennessee, of the teams that hired, I think as a staff as a whole, I think they're my favorite staff. Saleh, I hate, but respect Robert Saleh as a Seahawks fan. This dude, if you see what he does with the 49ers, like, he just brings good defense. Even when he was with the Jets and they had all of their issues, the Jets had great defenses while he was there. And now he's not with the Jets, who are just the most dysfunctional organization fucking ever. All right, second, or maybe it's really them or the Cardinals. So now he's finally in a situation like the environment will be better, and this is his second head coaching stint now. Like, I think he's just learned more. He's going to be a more mature person, and will be able to like fully get his potential out of this team. Tennessee, they got good talent too. The defensive side, they have the best D tackle in football, or one of the best. And how am I blanking on his name? Oh, you know who I'm talking. I need to like have a notes pad of every person's name who I want to talk about so I don't forget it. But you know what I'm talking about. They just did that trade with the Eagles to get Jordan Davis. They sent it was Jordan. They sent it was like a player for player trade, and I thought they absolutely blew out the water. I think Jordan Davis is one of the best run stoppers in the league, and you pair him with Mike McDonald, with Robert Saleh, as well as they brought in. Oh, they did not bring in Sonny Styles, but Cam Ward. They finally got him an offensive weapon. Um, 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 fuck. I'm blanking on his name. He was just drafted top 5. Carnell Tate are going to be a scary duo. I really liked what I saw out of the quarterback last year. He looked like, if you were actually watching the games, he looks so good. I think he has mentals, everything. I think he checks every box for me for a franchise quarterback, and I think the Titans are really going to take a big leap. The only thing that holds me up with the Titans is their division is pretty strong. I could see if they're trying to take one of those playoff spots away from the Jags or Texans, I could really see either one of those teams maybe offense to still be astronomically horrible, their O-line to still be horrible, and for CJ Stroud to just be so bad that they don't make the playoffs. And then for the Jaguars, I think it's the opposite. Them letting Devin Lloyd go just made no sense to me. I thought he was the heart and soul of their defense last year. So I think something weird like him being gone could really affect that team's defense. But if the Titans are a bottom five team again, I'd be kind of surprised. Just because I think they have a lot of talent. I really like the coaching staff, but it could happen. They're just in a very strong division, so I think something crazy like that could happen. And then the last team, the Raiders, are in a very similar boat. I really like their coaching hire. Clint Kubiak. Like, if you had asked me throughout all of the year last year, the Seahawks Super Bowl window was open for 1 year because we had Clint, and I knew that once we lost him, like, our window was gonna shut, or maybe not shut, but the margin of failure that we could have went from like this to fucking this. Like, I think the Seahawks offense is going to have a lot of growing pains this year without Clint Kubiak, and I think the Raiders offense is going to look really good with Clint Kubiak. The things that holds the Raiders up, just like the Titans, their division, except their division is just stacked. The Broncos, on paper, would look to be a top 3 team in NFL. The Chargers, if they're healthy, on paper, should be a. And, you can never count out the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes. With Patrick Mahomes. He's on track to start week 1, or maybe not start week 1, but he's been practicing. But I think this team could really just be a year early. I think that's what I would explain for them and the Titans. If just these teams are a year early, they just need one more draft to fill out the holes in the roster that they have. One more year to figure out who is going to be their benchmark players, who's going to be that base that they start build off for the future. And then, something that could really hold them back, I think, is maybe their defense, although they still have talent. And then once a team just gets better on one side of the ball and starts helping out the other, like, a lot could happen. Another thing with the Raiders is their draft class from last year. They, barely got any run. That was a huge thing with Carroll. I don't know why he was like that. If like he didn't want to play any of the rookies at all last year. So maybe some of those guys explode out of the gate and play really well. But if I'm looking at them, I'm high on them, but I can also see them being, picking 5th overall. If they just lose close games, the Titans, and if the Titans or Raiders are picking top 5 again, I think it's a case of, they lose a lot of really close games, or they lose games where they're in it till the end. And, maybe if the record doesn't show it, if you're watching the actual games, like, okay, this team is playing harder. They obviously care more. They're more locked in on the field, and you could just tell that the vibes are different. But so if my bottom 5 going into the years, I definitely think the Jets will be the worst. I got Miami at 2. I put the Cards at 3, and then honestly, if I had to put money, I'd put Pittsburgh and Giants being the last 5. And this is obviously without thinking about like a team just gets injured, or like the Colts, like if Daniel Jones comes back and re-breaks his leg like 2 weeks in, then like, yeah, they're gonna be dog shit. But just now with everybody being healthy, those are my picks for the bottom 5. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and if there even is any of y'all. I just like yapping, so I'm probably not even going to edit this or nothing, just throw it out there. But I'd love to hear your opinions, and maybe come back to this and be like, how wrong was I when the fucking... But yeah, catch y'all.